Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Off the Rails. I am your host, Austin Train. We are, as always, taped in front of a live studio audience here at the Truckers Lounge, the Driver's Lounge, excuse me, at the Petro Gas right off the 152. Joining me, as always, is my best friend, professional musician, co-host, and personal attendant to the many truckers that come through the Driver's Lounge, Brian Gower.
How's it going?
Good. Just a little. We had a little road trip.
Yeah.
Did a little road trip, and we're in the back. Your dad rents a car. They don't tell him it's a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
And we had a bit of a misadventure with the plug-in hybrid.
Yeah. So we're out here going to my sister's wedding, and Trains, came along with the family, the Gower clan.
Family Gower.
So my dad, he's like, "Oh, rent a minivan and go," and then it's one. It never saw it was a hybrid, so that was like strike one for him.
Yeah.
Very anti just new cars and gadgets and all this shit like that, and then it's like a hybrid, and then also it's like a hybrid. I guess you need to charge it overnight and plug it in.
Yeah.
And it just randomly stalled, and which could be an issue with the vehicle itself, and then it's also the battery isn't charging as it's driving.
We're pulling into the gas station, and you see something that says on the dashboard. It says pull over, stop safely. Car will shut off soon.
Yeah.
And he sees what the hell is this? And then he's driving up to the gas pump, and then it just stops in the middle of the driveway to go fill up gas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, drivers are coming.
Yeah.
They're probably all thinking what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you stopping in the middle of the road? The car just shut off.
Yeah, that's not good. Not a good car.
No, that sucks.
So it's a fucking, and then we're all trying to Google it and figure things out, what the hell's going on with it.
Chrysler Pacifica.
Yeah,
we're gonna name and shame.
Yeah,
it's a bad car.
And then it's
a bad hybrid.
It's a bullshit vehicle, and it's it had issues even with these newer models and remake, they had recalls and shit like that. And I'm like, why would you still rent that out?
Yeah,
but it's not like I'm like,
oh no, the rental car companies are shady as hell. There's a certain. I was reading about this, and I don't remember where did I read about it. Oh, it might have been in a book. Hertz rental cars.
Yeah,
I want to say it's Hertz. They have a recurring problem where people who rent those cars, the cars somehow get reported as stolen, and so people will literally be arrested. Driving these rental cars.
God damn.
And they say, well, it's just a thing that happens, but it's the only company that it happens to is Hertz.
So they steal vehicles and rent them out.
I don't know how that even happens. How do you call that in as stolen? It's a rental car.
Yeah.
I mean, also that maybe that's a big move is if you steal rental cars.
Yeah.
Is there a Fast and the Furious for rental cars?
Yeah. Imagine you're renting a car and then it gets stolen and then you're on the hook for it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's no stolen clause. So that's what they do is they just track everybody who's renting them and then bang them out.
I don't know how it's such a weird thing, but rental car companies are that's what I was thinking. I was thinking in general, you can kind of broad strokes talk about certain businesses as being shady. Hotels are generally pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from sometimes the quality of the hotel itself is low, but they're generally pretty helpful. They're pretty accommodating. Anything that has to do with cars, it feels like you should assume you're going to get screwed. Buying a car, renting a car, going to the mechanic, you should just assume that someone is going to try to screw you.
Yeah, and we talked about it. It's I wish I knew more about cars. I know jack shit. You could, and that's always a joke. Oh, the flux
well, even
capacitor
if you knew a lot about cars, it's with hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad is a car guy.
Yeah,
and just being completely befuddled by this new. Your car is a computer.
Yeah,
I had a friend. She went to a concert and she had a Tesla.
Yeah.
And it's her and her other friend. They're like, they're high or whatever. They're drinking, and then they're leaving the parking garage, and like an update comes on the screen for the Tesla, and her friend thinks it's funny, like, oh, let me just press it, and then their car shut down. They had to update for an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It feels like you should be able to cancel the update.
Well,
right, like your car being a phone is not a necessarily good idea.
Yeah.
Like if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and your car's like, well, time for an update.
Well, and
you're
then
in the middle of a blizzard. Well, update time.
Yeah. A lot of this too is like my dad's like nightmare coming true of like tech and everything everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like everything's a phone. He like got dragged kicking and screaming into getting a smartphone. But he's like, I want to like it's the only phone that is available. He's like, so he got it, and then he's like doesn't have internet or anything on it, and so like even like he tapes over the cameras and shit like that. Just
oh yeah.
And then so he's like, the only reason why is because his old phone, which was a Nokia brick, got stolen. Like somebody broke into his car and stole everything that he had. So it was like change, rubber bands, like shit like that, legitimately garbage. They stole out of his car and his phone. And it's like probably, I don't know if they thought it was going to be a come up or they're going to use it as a weapon or something like that, because it's so
they stole
heavy.
Rubber bands.
Yeah, no, like garbage, like literal garbage.
They might have just been crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, he was like, oh, I got to go get a phone. And so he hates the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then also just pairing a phone to this car that he rented, it was such a pain in the ass. It's like there's so many fucking menus. And then
it's bewildering.
Yeah, even my sister, she's on the trip with us too. She's young, hip millennial. She was like even trying to figure it out. It's like, what the fuck? It's like there's a certain point, there's too much fucking tech in this like in the vehicle. And even when we finally got to like, a charging station, and then even that charging, it was like off the 152. It was like we're in the middle of nowhere, a truck stop.
Yeah, well, there was a the charging station was outside of the Moto 6, little truck stop. And then, so two of the charging stations, literally, like, there was holes punched into the interface screen. Like, both of them. And then there was, like, another smaller station over the, I don't know what you'd call it, another little smaller pump.
Yeah.
Or charging station. Yeah. And it was like it was frozen, and you had to call them up to reboot it.
Yeah, because there was a window, like your Windows or like your friends like Tesla. It's like, hey, update necessary.
Yeah.
Do you want to cancel or update? And then you can, like a red X from a Windows computer to minimize or close that window. And I'm like, I can't do anything. It's like I can't even. And so I called, and I'm like, well, we're fucked. But I guess I could call. I'm like, to me, like the idea was like, a lot of times calling places, they get you nothing. You're
just on hold forever, or they're just like, yeah, sorry, we can't help you.
So I talked to a guy, and I was like, and he was like, explain the situation. He's like, what are you talking about? And like, yeah, no, there's a window about, like an update on an app or computer. It's asking me to do that. I can't click out of it or whatever. He's like, I could try just reset it, starting the pump. I'm like, yeah, just can you reboot it? He's like remotely doing that, and it totally worked. And I'm like, he's like, he still didn't understand what this problem was. I'm like, you solved it. Thank you so much. You're actually infinitely helpful.
Who did he worked for? Because it was a Shell charging station.
So it was just
he was a random guy at Shell.
What? Yeah, a Shell station.
He's like, he's like a gas station employee.
He's taking
like,
out
what?
In between taking out the trash. He's like, I can reboot your interface. But it was just that, again, another thing of like technology is like it's running rampant, and like really like this electrical pump had a app issue. It's like,
yeah, that's terrifying. I do think so. The car stopped.
Yeah,
and then we looked on the dashboard. Dashboard said less than 1%.
Yeah,
for the battery, and I am still under the impression. I think the reason the car stalled was like a transmission issue, nothing to do with the charging the battery. From what I understand, the plug-in hybrids, right? So it's not a plug-in hybrid is not a straight-up EV.
Yeah,
the hybrid is gas and electric, and if you don't have if the like on my car is like a hybrid, but it's it's only gas. You can't plug it into anything.
Yeah.
If the what it shows like the hybrid battery is low,
yeah,
it'll keep charging itself as you drive. Every time you brake or if you're coasting, even if you're not like if you're coasting down a hill or you like hit the gas and then lay off it'll start to charge. I think it could have made it, but it was like bewildering. And when you're on the freeway, you have to like really. When you're doing long road trips, you have to like really be safe. You have to like very much. You don't want to get stopped in the middle of nowhere. I did a show with a friend, and him and another comic will do like road gigs.
Yeah.
But they're put together by this like mentally insane man from Long Island who just puts together these road trips, and they said they got like stuck in the snow. Like they got stuck in the snow a couple times. They fell into a ditch.
Yeah.
They got like they were literally stuck in a little town because the blizzard was so bad. They literally there's only one way in and out of the town. They closed it. So it's like when you are on the road, and like California is a place. It isn't particularly dangerous.
No, but
to be stranded in the middle of California, but it's not great.
Not ideal.
It's not ideal.
So it's like,
especially if your car like just stops.
And then
for no reason, for a reason you don't understand,
and then
it could just stop on the freeway.
We have no fucking clue what the issue was with the vehicle.
Yeah.
But it's like, four of us are Googling on our phones, all different answers, all different, like, because nobody knows shit. And then I'm like, I can tell my dad was a fucking ball of nerves, and I'm like, because he's he got 5 souls on board. And then any minute he's like, this thing could stop and I gotta get over to the shoulder. And He's like, there's so many fucking truck drivers.
Oh, you fucking trucks.
And it's like
this is what Gavin Newsom wants.
Exactly. This is what Gruesome wants.
No, and it is usually I'm the guy freaking out, but it is like stressful driving.
Yeah.
Like long distance, I don't know. For a lot of people, I guess for me it's not so bad. I'm just kind of used to it.
Yeah.
Like when I did the shows in Montana and Idaho, I drove like 10 hours a day, but I do have like a very reliable car.
Yeah.
Now, if you're driving, you're driving like long distances. You really want to make sure you have a car you can rely on.
Yeah.
But you don't want to drive these long distances in your car because it's like, adds up, the wear and tear, the mileage. But you get a rental car, fucking who knows?
Yeah. To me, I'm like, I've never had
can they get sued if you like break down in the middle of like and die?
I'm sure there's probably a clause in there, like if you check the box,
sue us.
if we kill you.
The Disney clause.
Yeah.
If you die.
Yeah.
You can't do anything to us.
Yeah.
You actually have to pay us money.
And then I'm like, it's like, there's only so much we can do. And then he's like, basically just like, I want to get to the destination, which is my sister's house. And then he's like, I just want to fucking get there. I want like something to eat and go to bed. And then I could tell he's like, as soon as we get to my sister's house, he's like, oh, we don't have any food. We have corn dogs. And my dad's like, fuck. I could tell he's like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah. No, that's the worst when you get delayed on a trip and then like somebody's going to pick you up or something and then like you get delayed to the point where like they can't pick you up or like they're going to like take you someplace and then they just like don't.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, whatever.
And then I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so shout out to the old man. He got us there.
Yeah, he got it.
But I could also tell it's like just how stressed he was.
Oh no, because when we went to the plug-in and charged it.
Yeah,
the battery immediately started hemorrhaging.
Yeah,
like it was like 91, 83, 76, like literally in minutes.
Yeah, he's like within seconds. He's like I lost half power, and so it's an issue with the vehicle where it's not charging as it goes. I think you could have run it off gas. But it's just a bad vehicle. Yeah, and then
I looked it up and like everyone is literally saying like transmission issue. Oh, this has happened to me. oh, this is like, there's been numerous recalls of the Chrysler Pacifica.
The alternator. And it was like a 2002.
No, there's nothing good about it.
Yeah.
I looked up. I was looking at it for like 20 minutes.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't see one good post about the Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh, none of them. It was like 2022 recall, 2023, 2024. I'm like, this is a 2024. And they're having fucking, like, I don't know. Just, you can probably just give up the whole hybrid thing, man. But,
yeah.
You know, Chrysler is.
It was Chrysler's GM, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just.
Doing hybrids.
So that just that him like stressed out. It's dark, and he's like that mixed with like I don't know.
He was saddled with a car that he didn't want.
Yeah, and then he's listening to the Jason Ellis show, and so he's laughing. And then there's also, or he's not laughing. But
I was laughing.
You were laughing while he's probably stressed out. He's like, I want to enjoy my show.
It was
but
and he can't even enjoy it. Well, it was funny because I didn't know. So. I didn't know a lot about Jason. I've seen Jason Ellis on Instagram.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he sounded like.
Yeah.
And he's also like Australian. And I love the Australian accent. It's so, it just makes me happy whenever I hear, because it's like, I don't know. Jason Ellis seems like a guy who should be scary, but then you hear his voice, like, oh, this guy's fun. This guy's a lot of fun. And then there was people I knew on it.
Yeah.
And so I was laughing because like Frank Castillo was a guy who started off in San Diego, and then he's he was at the Comedy Store, and he was on the show, and it was just, I don't know, it's just funny.
Yeah.
It was just funny hearing him, and I was like, oh, I actually like this guy. Like, I'd only seen like pictures of him and shit. And I was like, oh, and
it's just
then,
like also funny that like,
it's funny your dad's into like a show where there's like people I know on it, and also like I don't try not to name drop a lot, but I probably do. Because I do assume people would just think I'm lying. They're like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, it's funny how like just random things like you can, I don't know, be part. I don't know how my dad, like, he still really doesn't get what a podcast is, but he's like, oh, I like the Jason Ellis show.
It's radio. It's literally just the radio show.
And that's why it's like connecting my sister's phone to it. It's like, oh, can you put on the Jason Ellis show?
How did he find out about Jason Ellis?
I think from Sirius. I think he used to have a show on Sirius.
Oh, okay.
And then now he does his podcast. He's like, oh, I like him.
Yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, it was just, and then when we went to a charging station, stopped there for like an hour and a half. So just at this truck stop, and it's just like, oh, this is like a legit truck stop. I'm like, I went walking around, I'm poking my head around corners and stuff like that. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, we're going to be here for a couple hours, we'll have a drink.
Yeah.
And so I go and I like, oh, the trucker's lounge or driver's lounge.
Lounge.
I poke my head. I'm like, oh, there's probably like, and I didn't know why I thought of it. It's like, oh, there's probably a bar here, not for drivers. They're not gonna like promote drinking.
Yeah. They just probably have like a guy posted up with like Adderall.
Yeah.
Or so, like crank.
Kind of like walk into this room. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's just a dude chilling, watching Austin Powers.
Yeah. Just TV.
And I'm like, oh, this is okay. And I feel like I was just on somebody's turf.
Yeah. It definitely feels like you're intruding. I don't know. When you go to truck stops, it does feel like that's their world. You're like entering their world.
Yeah. It's like, what do you do?
You don't know anything. Yeah, you bitch.
But it's like, yeah, truckers aren't like tough, like big guys. A lot of them just sit down in a truck and just.
Yeah, but
any world that's I'm not a part of.
You just assume the truckers are like the final boss in a video. Like they're just yoked, and they could just be like a regular guy who just likes to drive. I do really. Like truck drivers are like, I think that is a much more difficult job than people give credit for. Like their ability to focus and navigate this, because this isn't a car. Like, right, when you handle different types of vehicles, you're like, oh, this is like, you get a little speedy car and like you can just whip it around, parallel parking, fucking super easy. Then you get a truck and you got you're up high.
Yeah.
You feel powerful, but also parking is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you have a big rig, and it's like, that's got to be, like, that's
huge.
So amazing that they can navigate these roads that, like, stretch from a tiny, like a 2-lane highway down, like, a snowy stretch to an 8-lane freeway where there are, when we were going through, I think I probably already talked about this on the podcast before, but we're going from Vegas to San Diego. There's like an 8-lane highway, and there was like trucks all over the place, and nobody was giving the trucks space. Yeah. Everyone was like right in front of them, like barely a car length or two, like cutting right in front of the trucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you could get everyone killed.
Yeah.
Like that. Like if that guy stops
and
he's jackknifing,
yeah,
we're all fucking crashing right into his, because people will just like drive, they'll cut off truckers, and I'm like, that's an incredibly bad idea.
Yeah. I'm kind of like a pretty, I don't know, not defensive driver, but I'm just like, I'm not reckless. I mean, in my vehicle,
little girl driver.
Yeah. In my truck, like I can't speed. Like it's like impossible to get over 80 in my truck. It's just an old piece of shit F-150. And then so I'm like, I'm never like a speed demon, so I'm always kind of just grandma.
Oh, I drive crazy.
And then, that's how my younger sister is too. She's just like, she's in her Camry, just get out of the way,
zipping around.
And then but yeah, I can never really speed or anything like that. And it's also funny, just I think maybe I've talked about it. It's like how people treat you differently in different vehicles.
Yeah.
So in my truck, people just get out of the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I went to pick up Kyle from the airport, and I'm like, oh, I needed to get over 3 lanes, and people just like, go right ahead.
Yeah,
like go ahead, because like they see my truck, all the dents and paint scrapes and shit like that. 20-year-old.
Like this guy doesn't give a fuck.
This thing,
those are like tattoos. all the body damage to your truck is like literally like a full sleeve and like face tattoos.
I ripped the bumper off. Keep it.
Yeah,
it's yours now. And people just get out of the way. And then I've borrowed because I'm like, oh, I had to pick up my sister and my mom from the airport, so I needed more room. So my sister's like, oh, use my car. So she has like this little like. It kind of, not, sexist or whatever. It kind of looked like a girl's car. It's like, light blue Camry.
Yeah, it has a bow on top.
Yeah. It's
it has a Miss Pac-Man bow.
Yeah. And then people were assholes. Would not let me in, or just honking. And then like this lifted truck behind me blasting his horn and shit like that. I'm like, God fucking damn.
Yeah.
At the same place a month apart, just different vehicles. And I'm like, I'm the same guy.
Yeah, when I drive my hybrid around, I don't think people expect to see me driving it.
Yeah.
They expect to see like a lesbian or something. They're like, what the fuck are you doing, lady? That I'm just staring at them with my sunglasses, my mustache.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mouthing to them, I will kill you.
I'm gonna fucking
kill you. Get out of my way. I'm saving the environment.
But yeah. But other than that, I think the trip, because I'm like, this is like a trip where I have like kind of just planned to keep myself busy during the ride. So like really like an 8 hour
video games.
I was just like,
we're in the
exactly.
back of this minivan playing video. We just completely regressed to childhood.
My dad driving us, and we're just playing video games,
chugging sodas.
Yeah. I'm like, God damn, this is great. I'm like just playing that Switch. I'm like, man, the hell did I used to do? I used to think about like when we, you came with us like on tour.
Yeah.
And it's like, imagine being in the van for like 9 hours.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do.
Oh, I'd sleep a lot. I don't know. I do like driving though.
Mm-hmm.
Like now I kind of like driving. Obviously I hate traffic, but I like doing those long road trips.
Mm-hmm.
You're just plowing through. You plug in some podcasts, like I'll go through long form history podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like 3 hours, and you like crank a few out. You're like, fuck yeah, like get into it.
Yeah.
And just like you're very visually stimulated by the outside world when you're driving that much. Like, because things, like you drive like 30 minutes, the landscape doesn't necessarily change very much, but you drive like a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
You go through, especially in the west, like the western part of the states, like you have desert, then you have like woodland, then you have plains.
Mm-hmm.
It's very diverse.
Yeah.
Like landscape wise.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, we're already out of LA. I'm like, that didn't feel like one, you're not, I'm just sitting there while like I'm being driven.
Yeah.
And playing Switch. I'm like, my toughest thing is like, I don't know what game to play.
Yeah.
I'm like jumping from GTA to Mario to like get into my RPGs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's points where I'm almost like, am I getting car sick? I'm like, I got to put the Switch down. Let me switch to my phone.
You had the game system. What is it called? You downloaded it?
Oh no, I got it. Yeah, the Anbernic. So the RG350.
Anbernic
is this is totally illegal. I got it on Amazon. It's just like a little handheld that looks like
So a thumbs down for the Chrysler Pacifica,
but thumbs
up for the what is it?
Anbernic.
That's a terrible name. They have to change.
Yeah.
You know what? They should call that the Chrysler Pacifica, and the Chrysler Pacifica should be an Ambernac. Because it's a fucking bad car made by bad people.
But yeah, so it's like something that was like $50-$60 I got on Amazon. It's no longer on there because it's a bunch of pirated games that come on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like all these like old school classic games, like PS1 and older. I think there's even some Dreamcast games.
There was a few. Yeah, I was playing Sonic Adventure on that. And then I played. I was like scrolling through all the games.
Yeah,
they had they had like a full on entire catalog of NES.
Yeah,
entire catalog Super Nintendo. I was playing games that I had like only really played. I was playing Predator 2.
Yeah,
and then there's also another game called Narc, and these are like NES, Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And in both games, in Narc, you're a narcotics officer. You're like shooting people, and they drop bags of cocaine. They drop bags of drugs. You pick them up.
Yeah,
you can arrest some of the people or whatever. But it's like so crazy. They just put a bag of it could be heroin. It's just white powder.
Yeah,
but it was like they just put drugs in this fucking children's game.
It's just like
there was no censorship. This was like pre rating system for video games.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely when we were kids, that's when I think it started going more heavy-handed of like, got to rate these games so kids don't play them. Like, well, it just makes you want to play them more.
Yeah. It's just so violent.
Yeah. Well, like the GTA games, I'm like, really not that, in my head, like that bad compared to
they're so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
They're like when you hear somebody reciting what you can do in the game, and you don't know anything about video games.
Yeah.
So you're just like, you're awestruck.
Yeah.
You're just standing back in horror. It's like, they kill prostitutes in the game? Oh my God.
You can steal cars and you run a drug cartel.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah,
it's really not like that.
I mean, yeah, it is, but it's like, it's just so cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
It's not particularly realistic.
Yeah. Well, because I got they re-released them, like the GTA trilogy, like from when we grew up.
Yeah.
Like on the PS2. They put it like on the Switch. Somehow I got one of those, and then at Target they're like, I have to scan your ID to make sure you can buy this game. I'm like, look at me.
I got ID'd to buy a video game one time, and I think I was like 21.
Yeah,
and I'd never been ID'd to buy. It was like a Target or something, and I was like, "Fuck you, a video game, fuck off."
Yeah, well, and then just like, come on. And then I'm also like, I'm a dude buying a Switch. This is not for a kid. This is for me.
Yeah.
It's probably like, God damn.
Check your ID.
Once we finally got here, we got to my sister's place, kind of unloaded, and then we went to the hotel. Pretty, nice area.
Yeah. Like, there's a bar like right up.
Yeah.
Like literally in the other side of the parking lot of the hotel.
It's like I don't know if it's like a tourist district or whatever.
Yeah, it's got to be touristy, but we went there there's all these children running.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
the youngest people I've ever seen.
That went to this bar.
There are these fetuses propped up at the bar
doing
shots of Jägermeister.
Skippies or what the hell was it called? Or
Slickers.
Slickers.
Well, it was City Slickers.
Oh, but they call it Slickers.
Where they said, Slickers.
Yeah.
Like that's not a fun nickname.
Yeah.
Slickers.
So we're like, oh, okay. Because we wanted food or whatever. I'm like, they got to have, maybe they have food or whatever. But also it's like, oh, after sitting down all day, I need a drink.
Yeah, a hard, long day of sitting down.
And then, so we got there and I'm like, oh, they had, like, it was like a bar and grill or whatever. And they're like, oh, only thing open is pizza. So like,
yeah.
Which I thought
pizza wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad. So the bartender, he's like, oh yeah, we'd like a pepperoni pizza. How big are the pizzas? Like, and he's like, oh, do you want two? And I'm like, well, I don't know, how big are they? And he's like, oh, they're by the slice. I'm like, yeah, we'd like one slice to share between us. We're gonna, we're gonna Lady and the Tramp this pizza.
Yeah.
At your bar,
kiss over a piece of pepperoni.
But yeah, this bar, I mean, whatever, not to call them out, but I'm like, they had to be serving underage kids. That was their whole clientele.
Those people in there. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good gauge of how old someone is, but especially there, I was just like, oh my god, they're fresh faced.
Yeah,
and then
it was Twisted Teas and Jaeger bombs all around. That's how you know that
you can tell, how old by what they're drinking. You're like, oh, you're drinking that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, you're a kid for sure.
Fucking child. And then there was a couple at the bar. The guy, I don't know. I don't know what their deal was.
Oh yeah, he looked so
the chick
unhappy.
was just looking around for any other guy to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And maybe he had a nerve. And then at the end of the night, there was this like Asian guy who had to have had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Like he had something. He wasn't just a regular Asian guy.
Yeah.
He had some other he had some diagnosis. He had some sort of syndrome.
Yeah.
And then he's just chatting her up. And then the guy with her is like becoming a school shooter before your eyes.
It must have been either his girlfriend or on a date or something like that. And I swear to God, he sat in the same place, didn't get up, didn't even drink his drink the whole time. So I'm like collared shirt,
nerves, or like maybe it was like nerves. He had these crazy attack of nerves on a date.
Yeah, I'm like, gray polo. That's what I was like. Gray polo guy is still there with this chick who's talking to everybody else but him.
Yeah,
his beer's like room temperature by now. He's just not having a good time. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But yeah, I'm like, this bar kind of sucks. And then the bartender was just getting fucked up. That dude was like just getting like.
I had fun though. I don't know.
Yeah,
bars. I feel like even if a bar is only dependent on like the company you have and like how you are feeling.
Yeah.
Like the actual bar doesn't matter.
No.
You could literally post up in a parking lot of a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
With some tall cans, and if you're having a good time, you're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. I think people put a lot of like, you got to go check out this bar. I'm like, they have alcohol.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No. Totally. I guess like as far as like bars, like I never really go to a bar. We've talked about it just to like drink or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of fun. There's like it's still there. It's literally called the Watering Hole in Claremont, which was like just walking distance from Kyle's house. And it's like, let's just go here. Because I don't remember, we're just hanging out. And it's like, let's just get, getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, I'm like, let's just walk over there. And then it was actually one of the coolest like bars. It's like, everybody, their neighborhood bar. And then it's like, we kind of noticed, I'm like, everybody here is like our age. And it's like, they're all like, in their mid 30s, early 30s. And then the music that they played is like, oh shit, it's like the Menzingers. It's Yellow Card. Like, it's all like pop punk. I'm like, is this somebody's iPod?
You finally arrived. You finally found your place in the sun.
This is it. So it's not even like, and not to say I'm like, you can't have, young people at a bar, but I'm like, huh. I'm like, is this my spot? I'm like, is this gonna be it for me?
You
just
find
like,
your spot.
And it doesn't take much. It's like, it's in Claremont, has beer, and they play Blink-182.
Where's the Watering Hole at?
The Diane Shopping Center.
Is it? Are you talking about? Oh, is that by Peter D's?
No, it's like
Peter D's. No.
Yeah. There are people who are not from San Diego, but I'm like, that Claremont, Mesa, and Diane. There's that Starbucks there, and then there's the Dollar Tree store, or Dollar whatever that Dollar.
Yeah, one of those value places.
Yeah, and it's just right tucked in there, next to the barbershop.
Yeah. I gotta find like some better, like, I don't know, whenever I'm kind of a creature of comfort, as people are like, what bar do you want to go to? Like, all right, I have like 3 bars.
Yeah.
I have like 5 restaurants. And I have like 3 bars. I'm like, all right, let's fucking figure something out.
Yeah. I have probably even less. I'm like, what's a good go-to restaurant? It's not even like...
Do you like Jersey Mike's?
Yeah. It's not... I mean, it's still good. It's like Bay Park Fish Co. Go there.
That's a great spot.
Get it,
we should get a sponsorship.
Yeah, po' boys are good.
Product placement.
Yeah, Amber Nick, my CPAP in the shot and never moved it for the shot. But I'm like, shout out to ResMed.
Yeah, on the Ambernack, I could tell when some games were like, "Oh, this is pirated," because a lot of them were just straight up in Japanese, and then some of them like you get to a certain point and the game would just start like glitching out.
Yeah,
you're like, I don't know if this is the system or if it's like the fucking software on the system.
It could be both. I mean, it's just like I mean, it's pretty cool for a cheap little thing.
Yeah, no, it's like, awesome. It was fucking very cool. Yeah, it was very cool. I'd never. There's a bunch of games like I'd wanted to play. Like, I never really played Sonic Adventure back in the day.
Yeah,
and I kind of wish I had. Dreamcast was sick.
Yeah,
it was like such a weird, fun little console.
I remember you getting one, and then it was like it discontinued, like almost immediately.
Yeah,
it was like you got one. It's like, oh, cool, Dreamcast. All right,
you were done.
Yeah, it's like
nobody wanted to make games for it. I don't know what happened to Sega, but they also Dreamcast was the first one to do online gaming.
Yeah,
but that was towards like the end of its run.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was just because it came out like right before PlayStation 2. And there's no way you could compete with that.
Yeah, PlayStation 2 was like a monolith. I mean, especially with Sony. Like, Sony's just a monolith company that can put so much behind it. Like, it is weird to see, like, the video game companies get, like, eclipsed by Microsoft and Sony, which are, like, huge multinational conglomerates that, like, have so much more money to put into marketing and development.
Yeah. It was like the PS2, I remember that. Just, like, being all over the news too, where somebody was like, "Oh, you could, it's such a strong computer that you could, use this to hack into what." I'm like, just made up stories. Like this makes no sense. I remember seeing one. It's like, "Oh, if you buy too many of them, you could use it as like a weapon of mass destruction."
As a Gundam.
Yeah.
If you buy all these, they make a Gundam.
And there was like just
people would say that about hackers. That like hackers just using a phone could like shut down. The Pentagon's computers or something. Like that's a lot of like you find out like a lot of what hackers do is like they just wait for people to dox themselves and then they take the information like, yeah, you're saying what your favorite thing was and that's what I guessed your fucking password was, your favorite restaurant or whatever.
But I've definitely like scared straight my like mom to like don't ever click any like
email.
She doesn't even have an email. It's like any texts that aren't from me or my sisters.
Yeah.
If you get a random one, it's not.
Yeah.
This text is like you did not win an iPad.
You're never gonna win anything you didn't sign up for, and then you also won't win anything you did sign up for.
Yeah.
You just will never win, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and then. All the older people I know, they just want to like, they're like, oh, I can get this on the Walmart app. And I'm like, we don't need an app. We can just go to the store. We have Amazon.
Yeah.
We can just order from Amazon. We don't need another Walmart app to fucking, because you're going to put your password in there. You're going to forget what it is.
Yeah.
You're going to change it, whatever. And then now they have your credit card. Like, you don't need a Walmart app.
Yeah.
Like you don't need, we can order it this way, that way. Do we really need to order it? First off, we don't.
Yeah.
Second off, you just get everything through Amazon.
Yeah. And then my parents, like, they're not on social media at all. Like, thank God.
Oh my God.
But even
so
like,
lucky.
My dad, he was like, he doesn't want, because he's like, they don't need to know any. I mean, you're right. Don't ever make one. So like sometimes he'll do like Facebook Marketplace. He's like, because he can look at Facebook Marketplace ads and stuff like that, but you can never contact the person unless you have a Facebook page.
Oh, so he has one of you guys.
Yeah. And I'm like, good. Let's keep that going. Don't make one.
Yeah.
And then also, it's like, if my mom wants to buy something on eBay, it's like, okay, have my dad do it or one of us. If she wants to buy something on Amazon, have my sister do it.
Yeah.
But you don't need to create an Amazon account. You don't do any of this stuff. Like, just keep your phone to just a couple things.
Yeah.
She does like to watch TikTok. And I'm like, yep, just watch those. Don't click on any ads.
Yeah.
And then, because like you'll get ads and like clicking links and stuff like that. And then I've gotten, which is like the phishing scammers or whatever.
Yeah. I almost fell for one once.
Well, there was one where it was like a chick. It's like, hey, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I responded back because I legit thought it was like a person saying like, oh, sorry, this is a wrong number. And then they start getting like, oh, well, hey.
I get those ones.
What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then they stand up like a couple like, photos of themselves, like not nudes, but like, here's some cleavage, stuff like that. Just so some guys will be like, "Ooga," and then just start.
You're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chick here who just wants to show you her body and then have sex with you without knowing.
How could she not fall for me over text? I'm so witty and charming when I say that it's the wrong number.
There's never chicks who are just like, I'm a hot, attractive, young chick. I'm having a hard time like getting laid. Let me just find a random schlub.
Also, of all the people I could fuck, let me just the guy I misdialed. Hold on. I got a shit.
Okay.
And we're back. Had to make a deposit. What were we talking about?
I don't remember. But it's pretty good. I gotta take a shit.
Yeah, leave that in there, definitely.
Yeah.
This is the kind of podcasting excellence
that
you expect from us here on Off the Rails.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, just we're in bed, or different beds.
Yeah. No, we're in the same bed.
Yeah. But good times.
This is a 2-part bed. It's an episodic bed. Yeah, we're playing video games.
Yeah.
We're hanging out at a bar that serves underage kids. We're just kidding.
Yeah.
All the products that we've demeaned.
Yeah. But
it's clear this is satire.
Uh-huh.
I remember I did a show, and I have a joke where I plug the podcast, and everyone at the show was like in tech, and I imagine like I'm on one of my many rants. People like tune in, and I'm like, fuck everyone in technology. And they're like, I don't like this guy so much anymore.
And then the episode we're just bashing hybrid cars.
Well, like I drive a hybrid. I'm just bashing a particular hybrid car that was bad.
Because it stinks.
Yeah, it stinks.
Shit.
It's also like scary is like in rental car companies, they don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, when I called Enterprise, the guy's like, yeah, he was like kind of.
He didn't know what he was doing.
What?
He was like, yeah, you shouldn't need to. I was like, oh, I guess you do.
Because he's like, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not charging. We have stopped it. He's like, are you in danger? I'm like, no, well, we're driving. We have like, I don't know.
You always say you're in danger.
I'm like, we're 3 miles away from hopefully a pump. Hopefully we make
you like
it.
Send your like steak back. You're like, are you in danger? I was like, yes.
Yes.
I'm in danger of having a bad meal. And then it's one of the greatest dangers known to man.
I'm like, so I said, oh, it's not charged. It's like, no, the hybrids, they charge when you drive. And I'm like, well, this one you got to plug in, and nobody told us, and nobody charged it. And also, it's not recharging the battery. He's like, no, hold on. And so he Googled it. He's like, oh, yeah, you're right. No, this one needs to be plugged in.
I like how he had to Google it. They don't have that information there.
No.
For the cars.
And then I get it, too. Like, for my job, I work retail. Like,
you have to lie to everyone all the time.
Well, it would be like
mislead the consumer.
It'd be like a customer asking a super hyper specific question about like a product, and I just happen to be like a manager there. And it's like, how do you not know that? I'm like, because I want to say bite my tongue, but I'm like, that would be completely worthless information for me to learn.
Yeah,
it's just for you.
Yeah, it's a very specific question.
And when I look things up on the computer, people get upset. I could do that. I'm like, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Like the information that's on the website is what I'm pulling up as features, benefits, or whatever, where things are made and what it's made out of, stuff like that. And it's like, well, how do you not know that? I could just look it up. I'm like, again, you're not fucking
very
Googling.
Specific information. Yeah.
And then a lot of times at my work, I'll Google something for somebody. And it's like, oh, see, and I'm like, it's google.com. We're not Google. And like this, like you have this information. I'm not withholding it. Like I know how to, and I say,
it.
Yeah. And I say, I know how to use Google. I'm like, apparently.
What do they want to know? Is there any particular examples you can give?
Sometimes they give me like specifics of like a certain type of like glass. I can't remember it. It was like,
what the fuck would you know that?
And then I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like a tasting glass or something like that. And then so I Google it, and then I pull it up, and it's like, yeah, that's what I have. Where is it? I'm like, well, that's google.com.
Yeah.
And you can get it from Williams Sonoma. It's like, oh, but you have it right there. I'm like, no, this is a website.
Yeah.
Not my website.
Yeah. Do you think I have a special computer?
Yeah. It's just things like that. It's like, well, see, you found it. I'm like, yeah, it's not on our website. We don't sell it. Oh, but why is it there? I'm like, God damn it. I don't know how to explain a computer to you.
Yeah.
And then like everybody thinks everything's a touch screen. So they start just like poking at a computer screen. I'm like, God damn. Quit being so
smudging the fuck out of the screen.
you're getting too handsy, man. Oh, we played a show the other weekend, and there was this guy who must have been on drugs or something like that, but he was vibing with us.
Yeah.
We played. It was an OB, so more than likely it was on.
He's for sure on drugs. Anyway,
this guy was vibing to our music, and then he loved my guitarist. He, not to bring race into it, but here we go. My guitarist, he's Korean, and then so this guy was also Asian. He's like, and he's like, there's something with the Asian, man. They see that I'm Asian. They're like, oh, we're best friends. I'm like, dude, I'm he's like, I understand I'm Korean, but I'm like, I'm just a guy. Like, I like people I like. I don't just only like. He's like, everywhere I've worked, people are like, oh, there's the Asian connections. Like, we're homies because we're Asian. He's like, I don't fucking know you.
Yeah.
His whole thing. It's like, and this guy was like really like, hanging on him, like hugging him and stuff like that.
And getting touchy.
Really, yeah. And then he's like, oh, I'll take a picture with you, man. And then he's like pulling him in. He's like, dude, you're getting too handsy. It's like, you don't like hug me. I don't fucking know you.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's pretty funny. It's like, it's like, oh yeah, your whole band is cool, but you're my favorite guy.
Yeah.
And also it's like, all right. And then he's like, not there's anything wrong with that. I'm like, maybe he had a thing for him.
Yeah.
He just like to take photos with him, hugging
it's
him.
Like my favorite guy in Cypress Hill would be like the white DJ.
You're like, this something about him.
And I'm like, look, the rest of the guys are cool, but like something about his features.
I like the cut of his jib.
Something about his background.
Yeah.
Maybe his credit score.
Uh-huh.
That's what I like about him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, playing gigs, or I'm sure, you're usually performing in front of like, people who are drinking.
Yeah.
In front of people who get too like, familiar with you after a show and be like, oh, let me, just hanging on you. Oh, that was funny. Or let me tell you, like, or always giving like suggestions. I'm like, I never fucking asked for it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, this is a new song. And then somebody's like, what you can do to change that into a, change the song. I'm like, no, I don't know who you are. I'm not changing my fucking
I'm not gonna
song.
listen to you. Yeah.
Oh, get rid of that bridge. And I'm like, no, it's written.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change our record, and even recorded. We're not going to change it for you. Some random guy who walks in off the street.
Yeah.
It's a bar that we played at. They have like kind of these garage doors that open up to the I don't know, main drag on in OB. So it's like you hear music going on. And so it's kind of cool because it's like actually like osmosis. People started just filling in the bar because music's going on and it's free. Cool. I'm like, I like that. That was nice. But yeah, just like people getting like so excited about your band, and like people like, oh yeah, you go in for like hey, I liked your band, and I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, hug, give them the one hug.
Give them a kiss.
Thank you. Yeah, kiss their cheek.
You give like a kiss on both cheeks,
and then like some guy's like, oh, you guys are fucking right, yelling, and then I'm like, oh, thanks. And it's like a certain point, I'm like, I don't know how to end this.
Yeah.
Like, I like that you.
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
I don't know how to extricate myself. I'm like, oh yeah, hey man, thanks so much. Oh, I gotta go over here now.
Yeah.
There's something very important over here, but I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah, But
rest assured.
Yeah.
If it were any other thing, I would definitely
hang out with you.
Yeah. No, it's like I get more social anxiety than I used to. I'm like, it's like I hope something happens so I don't have to like keep talking about.
Somebody please drop a
I don't
class.
have to keep like putting on effort. Yeah, somebody like do something. Somebody crash a car so we can talk about that for the next half hour.
Please crash a car into this bar.
Yeah, so we could just have something to talk about.
Well, and then I'm like, oh, I don't mind or whatever. And sometimes people get like awkward about it. Oh shit. All right, bye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, because I have to be here because I'm rolling up my cables, putting away my instrument. So I'm like a captive audience for this guy. He's talking about this. Oh, I like you guys. You definitely right. And then you just kind of at a certain point, I'm like, I don't really need to get into it too much. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Glad you're liking it.
Yeah.
It's always.
I need to get better at that. That's like it's not that important for musicians, but for comics, it's way more important to schmooze with the audience.
Yeah.
So then you can think that you're friends and they'll give you more money.
Yeah.
I think musicians, it's like, oh, you're kind of held like up. Like, oh, you're this special thing. And then comics like, oh, you're not very fun to be around when you're not on stage. Like, you got me. Guilty is charged.
Yeah. And then there's a thing too. It's like the band that I've been in, just in case. I've actually been in the band like 8 years now. So it's been a while. And then some people who haven't seen us in a while, they're like coming out and like, oh, you guys are good, but sometimes like they're buzzed or drunk or whatever, so how they say it is like, oh, you guys used to suck. I'm like,
that's rude.
Not like that, but it feels,
when people say
that.
You've improved,
it's like, oh man, you guys are like a whole new band. I'm like, no, we're literally the same.
I get that from a few comics. It's like, you've really improved. I'm like, yeah, but like I don't respect your opinion or you. I don't respect either of those things. I mean, thank you, but
yeah, I don't respect you.
All right, I think we got to wrap it up. We got to go make a rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, but thanks for tuning in. Actually, no, it's your show. You got to wrap it up.
Oh, God damn it, Brian. Can't you do this one thing this one time? I'm so comfortable in my hotel bed. Guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Off the Rails. I've been your host, Austin Train. Joining me, as always, Brian Gower. You can follow me on Instagram and the artist, formerly known as Twitter, at Austin_Train. And you can follow Brian into the Folsom Men's Prison, where he's giving out free prostate exams for the prisoners as a form of community service. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.